Hello friends, good day, and whenever you're watching this video, we are going to talk about something I don't know how much people actually talk about this. I think it's super important, and it's the process of unpacking your body image idealizations. So my name's Tracy Brown. I'm a somatic dietitian and a tune eating specialist, and today we are going to talk about what is it you're comparing yourself to. Now, a lot of people I work with tell me, like, I'm not really looking to get really thin, I just don't want to weigh as much, or they'll have certain body parts. If my rear was less, if my stomach was less, then I could be okay, or if my body could just move easier, then I would be more okay. And we all have our own circumstances that we find ourselves in our lives, that either our bodies are different because of chronic illness, injuries. We've struggled with chronic eating things for a long time, is that we find our bodies different. And the truth is that from the time we're born until the time we die, our bodies will always change. Now, when we are people who've had maybe major fluctuations, there's probably been a major reason for that. And it's not because you necessarily did something wrong, but I think that the trap we find ourselves in that gets us spinning and stuck in disordered behaviors and thinking for a really long time is this idea that this shouldn't have happened, or that you did something wrong to cause it. And I think it's really important to recognize that it's not fair to our current selves and to our freedom that we could have if we're saying, if only I hadn't dieted, if only I had done recovery differently, I wouldn't weigh this, or whatever the issue is. It's like, could we first start with, no matter what, your body was going to be different no matter what. Would things be exactly how they are? I don't know that. Maybe, maybe not. But it's like, how can we bring just a surrender of like, I didn't think this would happen. I didn't plan on this, but clearly I did everything I possibly could to try to do the right things that the culture told me to do, and maybe my body's a result of that. Maybe it's not. I don't really know. But what I can do for my body right now is stop comparing. Stop comparing my 60-year-old body to my 20-year-old body or my 40-year-old body. Stop comparing my excessively exercised body to the one that moves maybe not at all, or maybe just regularly, and expect thinking that we're romanticizing the past. Because if you think about your past body, I'll think about my body, for example, when I thought I was fitter, and I look back at that time and it was hell, total hell. And people may have said, oh wow, you're really strong and you can do this or that. Well, yeah, I was stronger than I am now, but mentally and emotionally, no, not in a good place, not grounded. My what ran my life and ran the show were my insecurities and my threat response and my nervous system. So it wasn't a fun place to live inside, regardless of what I look like. And so what I want to encourage you all is to remember that if you're idealizing maybe a stomach that you had that was once flatter, or somebody else's, we're going to talk a little bit more about idealizing other people's bodies in Wednesday's video. But today I want you to start to unpack just the comparisons you have to yourself. Maybe when you dieted more, maybe when you were younger, maybe when you didn't have a chronic illness or an injury or whatever, and start to look at that body that you once had didn't probably save you from all emotional or mental discomforts or all challenges in life or all the things. There were probably some good things too. My life wasn't total hell when I was, exercising way too much and restricting and binging, but 90% of it was, so I can't say that my whole life was terrible. I had a few friends. I was working on a degree. So there were some things that, there were some privileges there, and there were some good things that were happening, but for the most part, I wasn't in a good place. And so if there's ever a time when I would be like, oh, remember when I was back in my 20s and I'm in 40s now, and I was so fit and I was so strong and I could do whatever forever. It's like, but do you remember what your life was like and how you had to do that? I would never go back, not in a heartbeat. And so you're right, it can be the hardest part, comparing to the previous self. But we need to be intellectually honest about what the cost of that was, what it is we were using that for to avoid it, and maybe now you have better skills for, and not to diminish those. And accepting that, like, yeah, we live in a sick world, and it's going to give you images all the time of ways in which it thinks if you romanticize this, you'll be better. And you'll see it everywhere. But it doesn't mean it's right. I heard this one time, I can't remember who taught it to me, but I do remember basically that I think something they study in sociology is something called normative behaviors. Our culture is full of fat-phobic, self-hating, other-judging, normative behavior. That doesn't mean it's good for us. And so part of comparing is in that cycle. And I highly recommend that you catch yourself and say, whoa, what is going on that feels like so much? What am I romanticizing? What's feeling not okay right now? That feels like too much, or that I don't have enough to cope with. So thank you also so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please let me know below, or feel free to contact me anytime. And also, if this message, you feel like, oh, yeah, I know my friend here, she's doing a lot of past comparison and is not seeing, the forest for the trees here. They might benefit from this too, so let them know, please. All right, thank you all so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.